Chapter 15. The miraculous feeding of the 4,000. Matthew chapter 15, verses 32 to 39. It should be noted that these people, full of joy and wonder at my affability and doctrine, had forgotten that they had run out of food and drink. But towards evening, hunger began to assert itself, and they began asking about rations among themselves, vainly, as they had consumed everything to the last crumb the previous day. On realizing this only too well, I summoned the disciples, saying, "Hearken! I commiserate with the people, for they have tarried with me these 3 days, and now have no more to eat. But I don't wish to dismiss them hungry, lest they perish of hunger on the way home." Matthew chapter 15, verse 32. For some of them have travelled from afar. Hence give them to eat. Say the disciples, "Lord, you are well aware of our dwindling rations. It is desert here. Whence should we take bread to feed this multitude?" Matthew chapter 15, verse 33. After which I asked the disciples how many loaves of bread were left. And the disciples replied, "There are yet 7 loaves and several fish that are still good." Matthew chapter 15, verse 34. Whereupon I said to the disciples, "Bring the loaves and the fishes." And the disciples went and brought the breads and the fishes. And I blessed both the breads and fishes. After which I commanded the people to sit upon the ground. Matthew chapter 15, verse 35. When the people had sat down, I took the bread and the fish, thanked the Father who dwelt in my heart in all fullness, for the blessing, after which I broke both into fragments and gave same to the disciples, who gave them to the people. Matthew chapter 15, verse 36. And behold, all ate to their hearts' content, and according to their stomachs' need, and were filled. Over and above this, however, they could not eat, and so many fragments were left over, that they were gathered into 7 big baskets. Matthew chapter 15, verse 37. But the number of those who were filled was 4,000 men, not counting twice that many women and children. Matthew chapter 15, verse 38. After the people were thus filled, I commanded them to return home. And the people rose, for the day was nearing sunset. All thanked me, great and small, young and old, and hit upon their return journey. When the people had dispersed after about a half hour, and none left upon the height, other than I and my disciples, then I too and my disciples headed down the mountain to the sea coast, where a ship was just docking to wait for a load, and we came in handy. On recognizing me, the mariners bowed down low, for they knew me from Cana of Galilee, whence they charged me no travel fee, but instead asked me to bless their new venture. And I said to the mariners, "If it is not out of your way, then steer the ship towards Magdala, where I have an engagement." And the shipmates loosened the ship from its posts, and a favourable wind came and quickly drove the ship to the border of the Magdala area. Matthew chapter 15, verse 39.